Good morning. Dwayne here, Dry Creek Wrangler School. As you can see, all right, sweetie, we have all the horses out. We got a new one right there that she wasn't here last time we videoed. That's Sweet Jane. We just picked her up day before yesterday. Little 8-year-old Palomino quarter horse mare. I think she's going to make a really nice mount. She's very calm, very kid broke, very beginner broke. I know. So Rodeo's like, I want to go back over to Boone. We've had them all dumped out in this pasture, and these other three were here first, and they were a little bit dominant when these new guys come in. And Boone has kind of been her shelter. No, you just back up, sweetheart. I know you don't know yet. We ain't hard taught nothing. Come on. Come on. Good girl. Good girl. So today is deworming day. All right. Today we're going to deworm all the horses except Copper. We did Copper last week. Copper's Connor's horse, and he brought the wormer up last week, and so we did her. And we're not going to do Sweet Jane. Come here, honey. We're not going to do Sweet Jane because we bought her after I'd already bought all the wormer, and I got to go get another tube for her. So we're going to do all the rest of them today. Now, let's talk about deworming, okay? When your horse eats grass or hay, they pick up parasites, all right? Just like you do when you walk across, if you're barefoot out in the country all the time, you're going to get parasites. The horse gets parasites, and so they need to be on a regular cycle where you deworm the horses. Now, there's 2 or 3 things about this that I want to cover right now about deworming the horses. First off, you can tell a horse needs dewormed a lot of times just by looking at them. If their coat starts getting kind of dull and their eyes aren't bright and shiny anymore, they have a little bit of trouble putting on weight. Now you got to be careful judging this coming out of the winter, okay? You can, and then in the springtime when they start shedding, if they're almost all shed out and they've got like little tufts, little tuft here, little tuft here, little tuft up here that won't come out, they probably could use a good worming. Now, you can tell by looking at a horse often, and the other thing is you can look in their droppings sometimes and you can see the worms in their droppings. So you can look at your horse and say, well, it looks like my horse needs worming. But a better way to do it is to get on a schedule. Now, wherever you are, you'll want to talk to a vet or do some research because you got everything from the deserts of Arizona to the Everglades of Florida and Alaska and everything. Everything has their own unique things to deal with. But kind of the basic rule of thumb is your horse needs to be dewormed every 90 days. And basically, at least here in the Southeast, it should be done at the start of every season. You should do it in the spring, you should do it in the summer, you should do it in the fall, you should do it in the winter. Part of that is the parasites have different stages of growth. I mean, they have the larva and the pupa, and so you want to catch them in the different stages of growth. And so the best way to go about that is to write it down and set up a schedule. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to worm all these horses. Tank don't want to stand there tied anymore. We're going to worm all these horses today, and we're going to write it down. We're going to write down the horse's name, the date, and what particular wormer we wormed them with. So now, you got to rotate your wormers. Yeah, you got to rotate your wormers out, okay? You can't find something that is cheap and that your horse likes and just worm her with that 4 times a year, because the horse, the bots and the parasites will develop an immunity to them, okay? So you got to rotate. So there's basic medicine names, okay, like ivermectin. That is the actual chemical name. Fenbendazole is a chemical name. And then they have the brand names, okay? Zemectrin Gold is ivermectin mixed with some other stuff, but there's several different brands that sell ivermectin. There's different brands that sell fenbendazole. Yeah. And so you want to use and write down what you use this time. And then next time around, you want to use something different. And then like the next time you want to use like Panadol. And then rotate back to ivermectin again. Okay, so you want to rotate through. Now, the one other thing that I would caution you on this. Now, this is just cowboy lore. Okay. Now, old Ace Smith in Kansas, probably the one man who taught me more about horses than anybody. He taught me this. This isn't from a vet. This isn't from the internet. Okay. If you rescue a horse or you buy a horse and they obviously have a very serious worming problem and you want to worm them, I don't recommend that you use Quest. Quest is a very good wormer, but it gets a lot of stuff and it gets it very hard and very fast. And there's been reports of horses that have a very serious worming problem that have been wormed with Quest, and the Quest killed everything so much so fast that the horse couldn't pass it, and then you wind up with other issues. But you can take Panacure, which is pretty mild. Now, what I've done with horses, I've got horses that had a serious worm problem, and I've given them a tube of Panacure, and I've come back in 2 weeks and given them another tube of Panacure. And then in the 30 days, I went to the ivermectin, then went to the Quest and got it, and it was all good. Okay, so you can research that and take that for what it's worth. All right, so I'm going to worm Rodeo first. We're going to worm all the rest of these. I'm going to start out Rodeo. Rodeo is 18 months old, and she was 18 months old on the first. And I know she's been wormed one time because I wormed her back in the fall. So I know in her life she's been wormed one time, and it was a very calm, no drama situation. I took my time. So I'm going to start out with her, and we're going to worm her and then go from there. All right. Now I am using Safeguard today. Safeguard is the brand name for fenbendazole, is what this wormer is. Last time I wormed her with ivermectin. So we're going to do fenbendazole. Safeguard. Kind of spendy, but now another thing is I've talked to vets and cowboys, and officially I'm not telling you this. All right? I have never had a young horse, I've never had a small horse overdose on dewormer. So I just run the ring all the way back so they get the full dose. Now you check with your vet, it's your horse, you check with people and you do what you want. But that's been my experience, and so that's what I do. Now, see, this is what happens when you take your time the first time around and you teach them in the beginning. Couple of things to understand about a horse, okay? This down here is a blind spot. She can't see right there, all right? She can smell my hand. There you go. Ooh. Well, jumped you, baby. All right. Okay. So be aware of that. Other thing is, be aware that this muzzle is very tender. It's like the palm of a baby's hands, like a little fat baby's fingers. That's why they're always nipping on stuff. It's very tactile. That's how they explore the world. When you go down in here and you just start slamming and jamming down in there and you're not careful, you're not considerate, that's how you create horses that won't take a bit, they won't take wormer, they won't do what needs to be done. So now again, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to be careful. I'm going to put this over this arm so it's not in the way. And I'm just going to kind of take my finger in here. My finger's softer than this plastic tube, and it's a little warmer. There we go. I'm just going to put my finger in here. There we go. I'm not holding her head down. I'm keeping it from coming over and hitting me like that, but I'm not trying to tie her down. I'm going to put my thumb there in the corner. See there? There we go. Yeah. Kind of rubber gum a little bit. There we go. Take it back out. So no trauma, no drama. Good girl. And do it again. And come back in here again. Yeah. There we go. All right. Now, what you want to do is you want to get the tube kind of up to the back of their mouth. Squirt it in a hurry. Don't bang the tube against their teeth. Don't stand there and there. I mean, get it in, get it out. You want that thing jammed in the back of your throat and somebody just holding it there because they're fiddle farting around? No. And your horse don't either, okay? Be considerate and understand. Now, let me see if she'll take this plastic tube. And if she won't, we'll just go back with the thumb again. All right? We're not on the clock here. We're not on the clock. Come here. Put my thumb back in there. Come in here. Okay, so you can see that tube coming out of the corner. So she's like, no, wait a minute. That wasn't part of the bargain. There we go. Squirt. There we go. Get it out. Kind of hold it up a little bit until she swallows. Okay? There you go. I can still see it, so we want her to swallow. Yeah. There, I felt that. Otherwise, they'll just spit half of it back out on the ground. There you go, baby doll. Good girl. Good girl. Now, that's 18 months old. She's only been wormed one time. Some of you have had a horse for 10 years, and your horse is 10, 12, 15 years old, and you can't do that. Let me address another thing here. There's some of you are standing there screaming at the video. Put jelly on that tube. Put jelly in their mouth. All right, put honey on it. Put molasses. Put something sweet. If you've watched many of my videos, you've already figured out I don't like cheating. And it's cheating. Why is it cheating? Because I may have to go out someday and catch her out in the middle of the field and do something with her, and I don't have a jar of grape jelly in my hip pocket. Okay, I don't have a honey bear stuck in my vest pocket. I need her to know he's not going to hurt me. Whatever he needs to do is okay, and we're just going to do it. That buddy of mine in Kansas, they were training a horse one time for a woman. That's what he did. He was a cowboy out on a ranch, and he trained horses. And he rode this horse for this woman. I don't remember all the details, what the horse was there for, just a trail ride or was getting trained. So there come time to load that mare up on the trailer, and she wouldn't go in the trailer. She would not go in the trailer. And this was a broke horse. I mean, this was an experienced horse. And so they did everything to try to get that mare on that trailer. Mare would not go on the trailer. Eventually the woman, the owner of the horse, came out of the house, and she was all upset. She said, what are y'all doing? And she walked up to that mare and picked her foot up and set her foot on the trailer, and the mare walked in the trailer. That was her signal to get in the trailer. Anybody didn't know that signal couldn't get that horse in the trailer. She was taught a cheat, and if you didn't know the cheat, you couldn't get her in the trailer. That's the same thing I keep telling you guys about catching horses with sweet feed. It's a cheat. And you get a horse out somewhere, you're on a trail ride, you're out in another pasture somewhere, it's pouring rain, and we don't have sweet feed, so you can't catch your horse. Somebody else has got to go over and worm your horse because you're going on vacation or something, and they got to have a cheat, and they have to know the special cheat, and the horse won't just stand there and do what they need to be done. Stop cheating your horses, okay? So we don't do that. So anyhow, all right, we got her done, and she did a beautiful job, and so we're going to go tie her back up and take on the rest of the horses. All right. So while we were worming rodeo, I'm just going to stick this in here for free, okay? Something kind of spooked old Tank over there, and he pulled back. I don't think he normally pulls back. I don't think that's a regular thing, but he did pull back pretty hard. And I want to use this to teach you something. Now, you look at Tank, and he's a big old horse. He's a big old heavy horse. And he slammed all that weight back. Number one, he was tied to that heavy post, which he didn't break. Always tie your horse to something. If they do pull back, they're not going to break. You tie them to corral panels and stuff, and they'll jerk them loose and pull them towards you, and then they try to get away, which means they jerk back, and then you've got a big old rodeo. You've got a big old wreck. Don't tie them to a horse trailer, a small horse trailer that's not hooked up to a vehicle. They grab it and they'll pull across the yard, a big horse, and then they think that trailer's chasing them and you got a wreck, okay? Always be careful where you tie your horse up. Secondly, as big as this horse is, as hard as he pulled back, he didn't break anything. This is why I use good quality rope halters. There's no metal, there's no snaps, there's no rings, there's no buckles, all right? He can't break it. Now, what he learned on that, I hope, is pulling back don't do any good. I didn't get free. It didn't help anything. You get a horse that pulls back and then the halter snaps or the snap on the lead rope snaps, then immediately they're like, hey, that worked. And now you're on the road to a problem that you're not going to be able to fix. So he started pulling back, and I told Mama and Connor right here, I said, just stand there and leave him be. Let him work it out. And he pulled back and he's thrashing back, and all of a sudden he just stopped. There ain't no point running in there and getting yourself hurt. I broke 3 ribs one time a horse pulled back on me. Slammed me into a wall. There ain't no point going there and getting hurt. If you know that you've got him tied to a good deal and you've got him with a good halter, I mean, unless there's other extenuating circumstances, let them work it out. Okay, just let them work it out. And so I just wanted to take this opportunity and show you that. So we're going to go ahead and just keep it going, Mama. I haven't wormed him before. I don't know how he does. We're fixing to find out. Come here, big man. So I'm going to come in here easy. Going to come in here easy. He's like, I don't prefer that. All right, all right, all right. To the back, squirt, be done with it. Hold his head up till he swallows it. Now, one of the things is when you're deworming your horse like this, if you just pull them out of the stall or you just pull them out of the pasture, let them up for a little bit, tie it up for a little bit so that their mouth is empty. You don't want grass and hay in there, okay? The other thing is, I know that there's dewormers that you can tear up in a little bag and pour it on their feed. I never use that. I have no confidence in that at all. If I use a whole paste and I squirt the whole thing in their mouth, then I know they got it. Okay? This old Reba, I have no idea about her. I don't know if she's been wormed. I don't know if she's ever been wormed. I don't know with what. But I guess we're fixing to find out, aren't we? I'm not too worried about her. She's a sweetheart. She's a sweetheart. Now, I say that on video, and we'll probably have the biggest fight of our lives right here. Come here. But there ain't going to be no fight. How do you keep from having a fight with your horse? Same way you keep from having a fight with your wife. Book of Proverbs says, where there is no fuel, the fire goeth out. It takes 2 to fight. All right? If you don't engage, there can't be a fight. It's a fit. All right? But it's not a fight. Come here, sweetie. So we're not going to fight. We'll just engage calmly. She may have never been wormed before. I don't know. But she's like, I don't want to today. Come here. There we go. Squirt. There we go. Head up. Head up. You're getting it all over my fingers. Arr. Just stand still and take it. There you go. Well, there goes a little bit, but she got most of it. All right, Mama wants to worm Biscuit.
First time for everything.
This is her first time worming a horse, so I would put that over your inside arm so you're not working across it. And then I'm just going to be here in case of instruction or assistance is needed.
I watched a video on this.
Did you?
YouTube.
There's a guy on YouTube teaching this.
He's a cute cowboy.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So I get it like this?
That's it.
He's been wormed before.
Yeah, he has.
But I haven't done it before.
All right.
No?
Yep. So don't, there you just go ahead and slide your thumb. Well, he may just going to do it.
He's like, just get it in there and get it done. I know what this is about.
All right, drop the tube out of your way.
It's like, I'm never trusting you again, Mama. You got it all over your chin. Look at you. Look at you.
All right, big boom. And last but certainly not least, big boom. Whoa, son. My oversized ADHD horse. Like a lot of people with ADHD, it's not a lack of intelligence, it's oversensitive. For him, he's got an oversensitive sense of, I got to know everything that's going on around me. It's hard for me to pay attention because there's just so much stimuli to my brain. You've done this a cajillion times, old man. Everything with horses, everything. On the ground, catching them, groundwork, riding, saddling, worming, farrier work. For it to be right, it requires two major ingredients. Consistency. You have to be consistent. If you want to take care of their health properly, write down when you worm them. Write down what you wormed them with, keep up with it, and get on a schedule and stay on a schedule. It's the same with their hooves. It's the same. Do the same thing. Do it right. Make sure you're right. And then be consistent and keep doing it. Okay? So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it helped you a little bit. If you've been a little intimidated, if you're a new horse owner and you know your horse needs wormed, hey, you just saw Mama do it. And I hope this encouraged you to get out there. Take your time. Okay, if they're pulling their head away, it's all right. It's not a direct contest against your will. All right, you don't understand what's going on in their head. They don't know why, but they're pretty sure they don't like it and they don't want it. And it's not their responsibility to figure it out on their own. It's your responsibility to teach them and to figure it out for them. Okay, so take as much time as you need, be as calm as you need, be as helpful as you need to be, and make it a good experience. The better this gets, this will translate over to the better they'll get in taking a bit. All right, but if you hurt their mouth or you're irresponsible and disrespectful to their mouth in one area, then when you go to work with them in another area that has to do with their mouth, that transfers over. Everything ties together. All right? So, hope you enjoyed this. Click like if you did. If you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe. Click that share button. Send it over to somebody who this might help them. And we do still have a Patreon account if you want to support this channel and help with that. And so just be logical. Be reasonable, be safe, and have fun.